going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the 32 NFL scripts that Roger Goodell so kindly sent me. You guys have just recently seen the Detroit Lions script. Let's dive right into arguably their direct competitor in the NFC North this year, the Minnesota Vikings. Official 2023 NFL script written by Roger Goodell. Let's jump right into this. I will say it is going to be so hard for Roger to improve upon the script that he wrote for this team last year. Last year, the Vikings found themselves in 11 one-score games, and they won every single one of them. That is unheard of. Their overall point differential at the end of the year was -3, and they went 13-4. That's insane. Has never happened. Actually, as a matter of fact, only team in NFL history to win 13 or more games and have a negative point differential. That's crazy to have both of those in the same script. But not only did they have that in the script, but he also had their record comeback against the Colts as they were losing 33-0 at halftime. They came back and won the game on a field goal in overtime. And then Justin Jefferson's catch against Buffalo. That was insane. I mean, this script, I wish I had gotten their script last year before the season started. It would have absolutely floored me. I would have not believed that Roger actually sent it to me because what a crazy year for them. I don't know how Raj is going to write a better script for the Minnesota Vikings, but let's see if he did after a quick word from our sponsors. Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Goldfine and Bowles, Lawyers for the Injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PLAYBOOKSPORTS on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video. So, Week 1, Vikings hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's got to win in Week 1. The Bucs are bad all around. Vikings offense is just going to be too much for them to contend with, even though the Vikings defense is extremely suspect. Their offense is just too damn good for the Bucs to keep up with, even against the bad defense. So 1-0 for your Minnesota Vikings. Week 2 at Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football. I mean, where do I even begin with this one? Not only is this game against the reigning NFC champions on their home field, but it's a primetime game. And if there's one knock against Kirk Cousins, it is that his primetime performances are so bad every time. That's a definite loss for your Minnesota Vikings in Philadelphia. Week 3, Los Angeles Chargers come to town, and they are going to beat the Chargers here in Week 3 to move to 2-1. Surprising, a win for the Vikings in this one, but high-powered offense versus a high-powered offense, and give me the home team in that one, honestly. Week 4, traveling to Carolina to take on Bryce Young and the young Carolina Panthers. And they are going to win again and move to 3-1. Panthers just still have too many holes. They cannot slow down the Vikings offense. There's just simply no way. Week 5, they will host the Kansas City Chiefs. And they're going to lose that one and fall to 3-2 as the Chiefs are just too good of a team. Too good of a team for the Vikings to keep up with. Vikings are too unbalanced with all offense and no defense. And the Chiefs can do a little bit of everything. And they have someone named Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if you know who he is. Week 6 in Chicago, and the Vikings are going to come out and win this one and improve to 4-2. Big win for the Vikings here on the road as they will once again just outscore their opponent. Not that the Bears aren't going to be able to score points, but the Vikings are going to be able to score more points against the Bears defense that still has holes that need to be plugged, still has young players on it that need to continue to gain experience. And so the Vikings will win this one, and they are going to move to 4-2. Week 7, a lot like Week 2. They are going to take on the San Francisco 49ers in Minnesota, albeit in Minnesota. But it's on Monday Night Football. It's a good San Francisco squad who hopefully has their quarterback situation figured out by then. Go watch the 49ers script. You'll see who's playing quarterback for them at this point in the season. Either way, tough game because that defense can match up well with the Vikings offense. It's one of the few defenses that can probably slow them down. And the Vikings defense won't be able to slow anybody down. So, 49ers now, it makes perfect sense. Week 8 here at Green Bay, and they are going to lose their second game in a row. As that is a tough loss to take because the Vikings have to consider themselves a better team than the Packers. I mean, they were, 5 games better than them last year, and the offense for the Vikings should be better, and Green Bay has taken a big step back. That's a tough loss for them, especially a divisional game when they're fighting for this division. And in a weak NFC North, you cannot throw games away like this. So another loss here drops them down to, I believe, 4-4. That's tough. Week 9 looks like they are going to Atlanta, and they're going to bounce back as Atlanta's going to be such a run-first offense, it looks like. They're not going to be able to keep up with the Vikings offense in this one, and that's a win for the Vikings. Week 10, the New Orleans Saints are coming to Minnesota, and again, very similar to the Falcons, Roger has the Vikings winning this game, just because the Saints offense is just not quite there to keep up with the Vikings offense at this point in time. Week 11, they travel to Denver, and this one is on Sunday Night Football, folks. Vikings lose as prime time. Kirk Cousins strikes again, and honestly, I haven't heard or seen the Broncos script yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be much improved from last year's complete disaster, and they're a good defense, and if that offense can produce anywhere, like even half of what we expected it to last year, they're going to be solid. In Denver on Sunday Night Football, forget about it. Loss for the Vikings makes perfect sense there. Week 12, so still no bye week yet. But it looks like they will take on the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football, where they will lose yet another game in the division here, a game they should win at home. But did I hear someone say primetime? Because that narrative is not changing at this point as the Vikings sputter under the bright lights of Monday Night Football and lose at home to a Chicago team that is up and coming, but maybe still a year or so away from being a true contender in their own division. It's like a Week 13 bye here. It is a late bye this year. I guess I don't hate that, but I would definitely prefer it like Week 10. I feel like Week 10 to 12 is like the sweet spot because you got your half of the season over, get a week off to refresh, and come back firing. That's okay, though. Week 13 bye is not the worst thing in the world. Week 14, they travel to the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Vikings are going to get off the snide here and get a win because the Raiders still stink. The weather in Vegas isn't going to be an issue at all. And guess what time of the game's at, guys? It's at noon. Give me the Vikings. I like that pick from Raj. It makes perfect sense. Even on the road, I don't believe in the Raiders personally. That's just me. It's just because I don't believe in Josh McDaniel as a head coach. Week 15, traveling to the... Man, that's a tough schedule. Tough schedule from Raj here as they travel to the Bengals. And the Bengals are going to knock off the Vikings as the Bengals are just too good of a team to lose to the Vikings on a neutral site, let alone lose at home. The Bengals are so good at home, and the Vikings are just not good enough defensively. Week 16, getting down into the nitty-gritty here as they take on the Detroit Lions in Minnesota, and Minnesota gets a huge win in this game to keep their hopes alive for the NFC North, as this game is an absolute slugfest of offense and no defense, and I love it. I will be tuning in to that football game, Week 16, because that is going to be points, and I love points. So they are still alive for this division. Week 17, they take on the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football, and they finally get the win. Finally a primetime win as Kirk and the boys do just enough to avoid getting swept by the Packers this season and keep their playoff hopes alive, setting up a Week 18 NFC North Championship game. Man, that's going to be exciting. Looks like that game is getting flexed to Sunday Night Football, winner take all in Detroit. And with this game serving as a pseudo NFC North Championship game, the flexing of it to Sunday Night Football is the worst-case nightmare scenario for the Minnesota Vikings. In Detroit, with those Lions fans in there roaring and just deafening, they are going to lose to the Lions and lose the division championship game, which then leads the Vikings to hoping for a wild card berth, which they just might get at 9-8 for their final record. It seems that in this script, they just aren't going to get that one-score luck again. And ultimately, that's what's going to cost them this division, as the offense is going to produce one of the best passing and just overall attacks in the NFL, with Jordan Addison joining them and still having Justin Jefferson and maybe a full season of Alexander Madison could be good, and TJ Hawkinson. I mean, that offense is going to score points, man. But their defense just lets them down. And they're not going to get these one-score victories that they've gotten and it leaves them at 9-8, hoping for a little bit of help. Will they get that help? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that's all I've got for you guys on the Vikings script. Let me know what you guys think of that one down below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.